It's the January show with Lill from CMHA. Lill, I gotta ask you a tough question at first. Did you stay out of trouble on New Year's Eve?
I tried, but no.
That's what I like to hear. Yes, finally somebody said no. um,
Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you too. It's always great to see you. I gotta talk to you a little bit because last month I became frustrated and I need some advice on this. And I think it's an important issue. I saw on a social media people kind of bashing homelessness, not really understanding what people are going through. And, back in the day when my wife and I ran camps, we were fortunate enough to have an opportunity to work with some kids with FASD. And it kind of resonated with me because that would have been 20 years ago. And where are they now? And how has their life turned out? And for those that don't understand FASD, it's a brain injury. It's something you're born with. It's not a choice. This happens, and that's life. So to me, when I looked at it, that could be a homeless person that has FASD and not by their choice by any means. But I don't think we really understand. I think we get judgmental.
Mhm.
Talk to me about homelessness and sort of
Mhm.
what you guys see at CMHA and how broad it is.
Mhm. This is an excellent topic to touch on, Dave. Kudos to you for addressing this important topic. Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk have a homelessness crisis. We really do. Is it more extreme in this area than it is in other areas? I can speak for Brant that definitely it is. I think what we don't understand is the plight of our homeless people. And we see these individuals as dirty, drug addicts, dredges of society. And we really don't understand their story, their background. And it's really important that we don't judge. Okay, you don't know their situation. Many, did have brain injuries and weren't able to find employment and found themselves like financially not very able to take care of themselves. Others are living with mental health problems that made it difficult for them to find employment. Others are, they would rather be out on the street than I'm talking about the young people, than in their home, their abusive home. You do not know their backgrounds and where they're coming from. But we need to remember that these are all troubled human beings that really deserve our understanding and respect, not to be judged and looked down upon.
And we all do it. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that's this part of society today, and we need to change that approach a little bit.
yeah,
And I always wondered, like, I mean, exactly what you just said. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover.
exactly.
We need to know what's happening, what has happened in these people's lives in order to have that conversation and maybe to help them. And I get that some folks don't want your help. That's
Hmm.
that's their choice. That's
Hmm.
that's fine and dandy. But with the growing population, and we're looking at really hard economic times. It,
Yes.
it, it could happen to anybody.
It could certainly happen to anyone, right? I mean, we're fortunate if we do have homes, and we don't know what's happened to individuals. We don't know their story when they're living on the streets. Drug addictions becomes a large part of homelessness, maybe because they're just trying to get, well, not maybe, we know they're just trying to get through the difficulties of their life.
And you've heard it before, and I've heard it, and you've heard it probably. It's like, well, they need to buck up. They need to get organized and do all this.
Or get a
My
job, get a job.
opinion,
Yeah,
yeah, my opinion is, I think they're just looking to survive the day. Y-
absolutely.
Like, I don't know, but that's the way I feel about it. It's because you don't even know where your next meal's coming from. You don't
No.
know where you're going to sleep, right?
Exactly. They are looking to survive the day. And, we've heard it all before. Well, why don't they get a job, right? Why don't they do this? There are challenges sometimes to maybe finding permanent employment or even getting employment at all. Sometimes living on the streets is a choice. Often it's not. So,
Do you, with CMHA now, do you guys, obviously where you're located in Brantford, I've been to your office. It's a great building and you've got some wonderful programs. Is there offerings that you can sort of suggest? Like, how do people go about making it work to get off the streets? Is there any programs?
oh, that is a good question. The demand far outweighs our resources and in the community as well. There is not enough affordable housing or enough shelters to accommodate the individuals that are on the streets, right? So much more needs to be done. We need to advocate our local politicians, right? Our mayors that can really do something for our homeless population, really make an effort to find some solutions rather than, caving to, well, these people, well, they just don't want to work. We need to find solutions as counties, as municipalities, as cities, to our big homeless situation.
I was amazed about 10 years ago. I did a story, and it was an organization that would provide meals throughout the winter to folks. And I went to do a story on it, and the place was packed. And this was in Simcoe.
Yeah.
And it kind of just blew me away. And there was a few folks I knew there, and one gentleman in particular was trying to get on disability. Basically had nowhere to live and no food. He had to either choose between rent or food.
I know. Yep.
And I was like, what the heck's going on here? Like, we need to. Yep. So the situation can dictate. Like, if he chose not to have a place over food, right? He knew he could get at least one meal here, right? And that's the way he was looking at it. But I was like, what are we doing as a society? We're not chipping in to help these folks out. And
no,
I don't know. I don't know where it goes, but I know that you guys have lots of programs, and I know there's other groups that do as well that try and help people through those. And we're in January. The nights are going to get cold. January, February, March.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, sure, there's shelters, and there are food programs where you can go for lunch or dinner, but they're very stopgap measures, right? Usually shelters are full, or people don't want to stay at shelters, for many reasons. It's going to be a long, hard winter for many of our homeless people, and I think we need to be empathetic towards that instead of judgmental. Yeah.
And I think too, I think there's a lot of homeless folks sometimes are just as afraid of us as we are of them.
Of course.
Because they don't know what you're trying to do to them or what you're coming at them with. But I think the only offering I would say is, if you got a blanket or you got some extra food, why not, right? If there's a person, give them a hand.
Exactly.
It's just the right thing to do, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, I mean, we didn't solve homelessness, obviously, but we brought it back to attention, and I think that's important. I think people need to understand that your community is the source. It can help in Brant and Haldimand and Norfolk and all the towns.
Yes.
If everybody just does a little bit, just a little bit to help someone else out, it's important. And I mean, we're all guilty of it. We turn our back once in a while. We do it, but maybe just make that extra effort, especially with the new year, to try and help others that are around you. Because, like you said, Lill, I think that's the important message: is you don't know their background, you don't know the story, and maybe it's very relatable to you and your family, and maybe it's time to help somebody.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, Lill. This is a great topic, and we should dive deeper into it later on in the year, but I got to let you go, and I look forward to talking to you in February. I'm going to give you a heads up. I want to talk about psychosis because I didn't understand it, and I did a little course on it. Wow. We got a road to go down there, and I know you guys have lots of programs that help out. So that's the February show, okay?
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.